Our story begins with a beautiful girl calling the protagonist a brave hero, thanking him for saving the world. However, it's just a character within a game. And Konoe Yuto, our actual protagonist, has reached the 99th heroine. He's successfully cleared. Yuto is an ordinary high school student with one exception. Suddenly, his father bursts into his room, loudly reminding him that it's time for his morning training and urging him to hurry up. Yuto replies that there's still time and tells his father not to barge in without warning his father, serious as ever, slowly closes the door, saying he'll be waiting, leaving Yuto to sign in frustration. He reflects on the rigorous Konoe-style martial arts his father teaches him, wondering if they truly need such skills in times of peace, as if they were in a demon lord-controlled alternate world or something. Moments later, Yuto sports a huge bump on his head. Frustrated by how his father didn't hold back from the start, he changes into his school uniform, but remembers he needs to decide which heroine to pursue next before heading out in the small gaps between school and training. Yuto has been working through various games from dating sims to mainstream ones now, with a sense of excitement. It's time for him to choose his 100th heroine. Scanning the choices, he quickly decides on a bestiared slave girl, opting for her salvation route. Later, Yuto is on the train stifling a yawn as exhaustion pulls at him. The strain from his morning training combined with staying up all night gaming has worn him out. He falls asleep, oblivious to a magical circle that appears beneath him, engulfing him and leaving his school bag behind on the train when he wakes up. He's no longer on the train. Surprised, he wonders where he is, knowing he should still be on his usual route. Suddenly, he hears someone nearby asking, "What the hell is that?" Turning, Yuto is shocked to see a boar in a human body along with other animal-human hybrids surrounding him. Bewildered, he wonders who or what these people are. The boss asks Crane, his second in command, if the newcomer possesses any unique skills. Crane stammers, replying that the man before them, he has no special abilities or unique skills. Furious, the boss grabs Crane, demanding if he's certain that humans summoned from other worlds are supposed to have unique skills. Crane, trembling, affirms that his magic eye never fails, yet insists Yuto is without any notable power. Overhearing their conversation, Yuto wonders what they mean by summoning, realizing it's a common trope in games still. He begins to question if it's truly happening to him. Yuto touched the floor to confirm it wasn't a dream. The animal-like stench in the gritty feel of the floor felt all too real. Crane then explained to his boss that if there was anything the magic eye couldn't perceive, it would have to be some unknown, unclear, unique skill. In a fury, the boss slammed Crane to the ground, shouting that it was just fantasy nonsense and furious that he'd wasted a fortune on the summoning stone. One of the boss's minions asked if they should try selling Yuto as a slave, realizing he needed to escape. Yuto stood up, aware of the danger, when suddenly a massive sharp sword was aimed at his head, shocking him. The boss shouted that a male slave with no abilities was worthless and ordered his minions to kill Yuto. They responded eagerly, and one tried to spear him in the head. Yuto dodged in time, realizing he had no other choice. With quick reflexes, he launched two fingers forward, piercing the pig's neck. The creature dropped instantly, its neck bleeding. Both the boss and Crane stared in shock as Yuto smiled in disbelief. His father's ridiculous training had actually come in handy. Here, the Konoe-style martial arts, after all, was an unconventional combat system that aimed to combine and steal the strengths of all fighting styles to become the ultimate martial art techniques from the Russian military combat. Sistema, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, savate, aikido, judo, and many more were part of Yuto's repertoire. He has mastered over 60 different martial arts. It wasn't only Yuto's natural talent that had led to this mastery. His intense desire to secure time for gaming had driven him to attain with absolute focus. Yuto then punched Crane and kicked another pig-headed figure in the neck, killing them both instantly as he moved through his opponents. He thought that even though he still couldn't stand his father, it was oddly satisfying, as he wondered if a part of him craved a real fight. Within minutes, all the pig-like creatures lay dead on the ground, leaving only the boss, who stammered in disbelief, questioning how Yuto, supposedly powerless, had done this trembling. The boss asked who Yuto was about to simply say his name, but then he remembered his father's words. He was the heir to the Konoe-style martial arts, and he should always introduce himself with that title, dashing toward the boss. Yuuto introduced himself as Konoe Yuuto and punched the boss squarely in the chest, adding that he was just an ordinary high school student like anyone else. The boss was thrown against the wall and died instantly in that very moment. The man who would later be known and feared as the Demon Lord was born in this other world, seeing all the orc-like creatures lying dead. Yuuto realized that although he had survived, he had also taken a life. Things were growing troublesome, and he knew he needed to find a way back to his original world before the situation spiraled further. Without a phone or game console, Yuuto felt stranded. Then he noticed a glowing display in front of the fallen boss introducing him as Gildia Masadi, an orc and a slave trader with no unique abilities. It looked like a game status window. And Yuuto deduced that his enemies were orc, not pigs. The system then appeared directly in front of him, displaying his own status window, leaving him to wonder if it truly was his. Examining the window, he saw 3 unique abilities: Skill Taker, Slave Contract, and Evil Eye. Confused, Yuuto wondered how he had gained 3 unique abilities when he was supposedly powerless. Clicking on Skill Taker, he read the description: the ability to steal abilities from defeated monsters. He laughed at the coincidence. Just as he had mastered martial arts by stealing techniques, he now had the power to steal monster abilities. This also meant that the remaining 2 skills likely came from the orcs he defeated. Yuuto reasoned that the status window might be related to his newly acquired Evil Eye ability, and that Skill Taker being too rare wasn't detectable by that power, reflecting on how he'd been summoned to this world. Without warning, he felt a glimmer of hope. It seemed the heavens hadn't abandoned him. With Skill Taker and Evil Eye at his disposal, he was determined to survive and find his way back to conquer the 100th heroine. Meanwhile, Expayan City, the royal capital. A beast woman sat in her room at an inn, engrossed in a book titled Hero Ark Schwartz. She smiled, thinking no matter how often she read about him, Ark remained as wonderful as ever. Suddenly someone called her name. Spica, startled, she stood up, rushing to the desk to apologize for keeping them waiting. The woman at the desk instructed her to greet a customer, and she replied with a quick yes before hurrying outside. As she went, Spica found herself wondering if one day a strong, handsome man with black hair and black eyes would appear in her life. At the same moment, Yuuto, who fit that exact description, continued exploring this unfamiliar world, finding something useful from the orcs he had defeated.